Hello, everyone, and welcome to Immigration Live with Lee. I'm your host, Attorney Lee Marvin, and today is Monday, November 3rd of 2025. And whether you're watching live or whether you're watching the video on my YouTube channel, I welcome you. You're always welcome to participate in these live sessions. Every Monday, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, Detroit time, like clockwork, I'm here. So if you're watching this video and not the live, make sure to join the live. It's a lot more lively, no pun intended. But I'm here to answer questions that you may have as it relates to immigration. Family immigration is what I practice. I've been doing this for about 12 years, although I've been practicing law for over 22 years. So family immigration law is what I do most of the time. So if you are joining the show, again, please remember to drop your questions in the comment section, whether you're watching from YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook. You can ask your questions on there. Just post them. You don't have to ask for permission. Just post your questions and I'll get to them when I can. So I got a number of questions from people previously that I wanted to get to if I had a chance tonight. But first, I prioritize the live questions. So please post your questions when you have them. Okay, so for all of you who are joining us on Instagram, thank you very much for joining. Tengo familia aquí para visitarme. Gracias. Olgi, hola, ¿cómo está? Gracias por visitarme, okay? So type your questions because this is a live question and answer immigration show, and it's not very fun unless people are asking questions. I will ask you also to please let me know where you're joining me from as we move forward through the program. Obviously, I have family joining me from Colombia, so that's always fun. But let me know who else is joining me and where you're joining me from. I will say that this video is on the day after the time change, right? Eastern Daylight Savings Time ended yesterday. So this time slot it's 8 o'clock, but it really is 9 o'clock, the old time slot. So hopefully that didn't confuse you all too much. I'm still here no matter what. But without any questions, live questions, I'm going to go ahead and go to questions that were asked earlier. Okay, so bear with me here. Some questions from earlier in the day. So this is a pretty straightforward question about renewing green cards. Okay, it was based on my video for green card renewals. The question was, how long before I expire should I renew my green card? When should I submit my application? And I believe 6 months in advance is all you're allowed to do. So if it's any earlier than that, the government will reject the application and you're going to have to file it again at a later date. So 6 months is the magic number for filing your renewal for your green card. Okay. Another question for military parole in place. I always get a lot of questions for that. This is a really good question. It's very, it's a basic question that's critical to the process. Does a family member have to be actively serving in the military, or could a veteran sponsor a family member? The good thing is they do not have to be actively serving. They can be veterans. As long as you have your DD 214 form that shows that you honorably served and left the military, you can still qualify for this benefit. If you were discharged dishonorably, or other than honorable, we say in the military, then you're not eligible for that. But if you honorably served and you left and you retired, or you your term of service ended, you still can go ahead and sponsor someone, basically family member, through that process. Okay. Okay. So, and let's see. will my I-130 spouse visa get denied because I have filed for a K-1 visa? However, we got married after I filed my K-1 visa. So I'd just like to know if my I-130 spouse visa will get denied outside the country. No. So immigration, when people have multiple avenues for moving forward with green card processes or fiance processes, legal processes under the immigration system, everything depends on what your status is at the time, right? If your status changes, then the petition can change. So in this example, spouse visa, so they filed for a fiance visa, then they got married. Well, now that fiance visa is no longer valid. So eventually the government will catch up with that person and say, hey, let's move forward with the fiance visa. And you're like, oh, guess what? We actually got married. So you're not eligible for a fiance visa anymore. But in this example, this person is wondering if they could move forward with a spouse visa process. And the answer is yes, of course. So having a prior application no longer being valid doesn't make the current process invalid. Okay. So that person can definitely move forward with a spouse based green card process, even though they originally filed under a different process. Okay. So hope that makes sense to you all. If it doesn't, please ask clarifying questions and I will let you know what else is going on here. Okay. So we got a question from Honey Famous. Can I please explain what a K3 hybrid petition is? I've never heard that referenced in that way. K3 hybrid. I don't know what that is. K3 is basically a dependent child. So K3 is basically your fiance's child, and trying to petition for that person. But I've never heard it referred to as a hybrid petition. So sorry, I'll look it up, tomorrow when I get to the office to see what that is because I've never heard of that before. Okay. So, okay, let me go over. Let's see. I got some questions on YouTube here from Damien. And Damien, I know you join us a lot most weeks, so thank you for joining again. Interview is on October 29th for adjustment status. Got a white paper saying the case is being held for review. The review went very well. Easy questions didn't take original documents. Okay, so the agent didn't take your original documents from you. That's good because they're not supposed to. When will I get a decision? Well, honestly, I have no idea. I didn't do your filing. Clients that I've done these processes for, it's not very common that they don't get their answer right away. Most of my clients, they find out the day of, but sometimes there's agents that are new and they want to make sure that they go through their leadership and make sure they're doing it the right way. So I would say that it's not unreasonable for it to take a week. Could be up to 2 weeks. If it takes any longer than that, then something definitely is not right. So Damien, if it takes longer than 2 weeks, chances are they're going to issue a request for evidence. They need more information to be able to make their decision, because just because you thought it went well doesn't mean it went well, right? I hope it did, but you never know until they actually give you that decision or give you a request for additional documentation. So I hope it works out well for you. Okay. Question about the H-1B lawsuit. I don't know anything. I don't track H-1B because I don't do business immigration. I do family-based immigration. So I have no clue. And I just shudder every time I hear anything about business immigration because it's a nightmare, more so than family-based. But so I don't have an answer for you. Let's see here. Okay. This is becoming more and more common of a question. Okay. So I'm not even going to pronounce your screen name, but the question is straightforward enough. Can someone apply for citizenship while they are having a payment plan with the IRS? Yes. Immigration says you can move forward with naturalization, and you can prove to them or convince them that you are eligible and you do have more good moral character, even if you have back tax issues with the IRS, if you actually have a payment plan, if you're following some process that the IRS set up for you to do what you need to do. Okay. That's the way it's always been. Now, the question is, with this supercharged agents that they have now, based on the August 29th memo or August 15th memo, where immigration gave more power to the agents in the review of these processes, is that still true? I don't know. It's kind of early to tell that. They can be very strict if there's a reason or justification for being strict. They can't, the agents can't arbitrarily just say, nope, we're not going to approve you. They've got to give a reason. Now, if the reason is a finding of a lack of good moral character, and if they think that, back taxes or there's other history there, IRS issues, if they see that combined with some other things, they could potentially not approve the request, even if you have a payment plan. But generally speaking, the presence of just a payment plan isn't enough to deny based on the way it had been previously. So you get what I'm saying? I'm trying to say that a lot is still up in the air with this administration and immigration, but I suspect that as long as you are honoring your commitment to pay the IRS, you're going to be okay. All right. So hopefully that helps you. So let me go back over to Instagram. If you have questions, type your questions, please, into the chat so I can answer your questions on YouTube, on Instagram, or on Facebook. Okay. Let's see. I've got a question here from Guillermo. Guillermo says, I'm planning a trip outside the United States for 3 weeks. I'm sorry, in 3 weeks. I'm a legal permanent resident. I have a record that happened 28 years ago is retail fraud. That's not good. I did community service. Will that come up when I re-enter the US? Guillermo, I wish I could say that it's not going to, but I don't believe that, because 28 years ago is a long time ago. But immigration has a very long memory, and they have the authority to absolutely run you through a ringer for retail fraud. That is one of the things that I see a lot more of, that the government is really coming back and hitting people hard for. Okay, retail fraud, big, big, big. And DUIs again, right? DUIs used to be like, yeah, it's bad, but it's not going to stop you from moving forward with your process. Well, that is no longer true. I've had stories that I've seen, that I've read. Hasn't happened to any of my clients because I'm advising them properly to avoid certain things or to be prepared for the government to really come down hard on them when they do re-enter. Okay. And I did a video. Maybe you've seen this if you're joining from YouTube. I did a video last week and the week before. It was a 2-part video about this topic. Check it out, you all, if you haven't seen it, because immigration has the right to go back really as far as they want, right? If you're requesting re-entry to the United States. If you're here in the United States, it's different, right? You're a legal permanent resident, you're in the United States, and you're not moving forward with anything except for a renewal of your green card. Well, retail fraud is not great. I mean, it's not good, it's horrible, but for renewing your green card, it does not subject you to deportation. That's not true for citizenship, though. If you try to move forward with retail fraud for citizenship, naturalization, that can trigger a lot of problems, including removing, basically sending you to court and making you fight to get your green card back. entering the country, they can reject your entry, right? They can't take away your green card, but they can reject your reentry request. And then you have to do all sorts of waiver processes to try to re-enter the United States. So Guillermo, risky as heck. Risky as heck. And I know you didn't want to hear that, but if you were my family, I would tell you to schedule a trip some other place inside the United States, or wait until this current administration is no longer enforcing immigration law. Okay, Guillermo? So be safe. Okay, let's see here. Okay, this is an interesting question. I'm going to answer this before I jump over to Instagram, okay? Let me just see. Okay. So, Lourdes, hello to you too. Is it a risk to travel with a work laptop as a tourist in the United States? No, because if you're a tourist, you're only here for a short period of time. There's no laws against you working for your employer who's outside the country. You're getting confused because working for a US employer, when you don't have legal authority to do so, that's a problem. But if you are working for your employer from outside the United States, just because you're here as a tourist, that's not an issue at all. It's none of the government's business if you're doing that, because that's related to your life back in your country. If the opposite were the case, then that may trigger something, and maybe you get secondary inspection from customs. But I don't see that as being a problem for you, Lourdes. Okay, so bon voyage to you. Okay. Okay, so let me go over to Instagram, see what kind of questions we have on here. Lots of people joining us. Okay. So this question, I wish I could post it on the screen, but I can't on Instagram. It says, hello, Attorney Lee Marvin. Hello to you. This is from Octavambaza. Is it advisable to travel with travel document before obtaining a green card based on asylum? When the asylum is approved and USCIS issued a travel document. If you have an approved asylum and you have an approved travel document, absolutely 100%, it's safe to travel on that documentation, because that is what the system has designed for people in your situation. So you don't have to wait to be a green card holder to be able to travel. I would say that if you're traveling to your country, that's a bit risky, because you've presumably got asylum approved based on persecution from your country. And if you're going back to your country of origin, even though you got asylum, they could look at that as some good old-fashioned immigration fraud, and that could cause serious problems. But just generally traveling with the travel permit is not a problem, okay? So just don't go to your home country, or you're going to have to justify it to customs when you re-enter the United States, okay? Okay, so the real Bernard, hello to you again. You joined lots of Mondays, and I thank you for that. Our friend Bernard says, it's been seven days since I did my interview for adjustment status. It was quick. Still waiting on the decision. Is something wrong? We had a lot of evidence. So Bernard, I answered this question before you joined in tonight. And I said, that's not so weird. 7 days isn't a big deal. 2 weeks, I would say, is getting closer to the point where maybe it's not a problem, but maybe immigration is going to ask you for additional proof of something. 7 days is not a big deal. Immigration has been going through a lot of turnover, and training agents to have the experience, expertise, and judgment that the old agents had. It takes a little bit more time. So I've seen it's very common for agents to not be confident with their decision, or there's a protocol in place from the current administration saying, hey, any agents, period, need to go to the supervisor before they can approve this. I don't know if that's the case. I'm just wondering if that's the case. I'm just speculating a little bit. So that could be what it is. 7 days isn't a huge deal. Okay. So 1 second, folks. Okay. So next question on Instagram here. Well, let's see. My mother entered the United States from Italy. She has Italian citizenship. Can I petition for her? I'm an American citizen. Of course. If you're a U.S. citizen, you can petition your parents, your children, your spouse, or your brother or sister. Okay. So the answer is yes. And this is Arthur. You absolutely can sponsor your mother. Okay. So you can do that. The good thing is, as a U.S. citizen, there is no waiting period for that visa for her. So it's going to move a lot quicker than it is for other types of categories. If you need help with this sort of thing, because this is something that I do a lot, I'm going to post a link here for you to reach out to me. Okay. I'm going to put it here on Instagram, then I'm going to put it on Facebook and YouTube as well. Yeah, Octavambaza, sorry for the pronunciation. It's my pleasure. I hope my answer helped you, okay? Let's see. So Arthur, yes, if you need help with this for your mom's process, the link is down below, so you can reach out to me and I can help you figure that out, okay? I'm going to put it here as well, on Facebook and YouTube. Okay, so I'm looking here at YouTube. Here's a question. Okay. Let's see. 1 second here. So, 1 second here. Okay. So the question here, where was that? It was here. Okay. Is it true if we file for the CR1 visa? Okay. We can also file for the I-129F for the K3 visa. I want my spouse to come to the United States as soon as possible from Morocco. Okay. So those are mutually exclusive. So filing for the CR1, basically the process starts with the marriage, right? If you've got a valid marriage relationship, filing redundancies sometimes can help people. It's a lot more money. I haven't seen how quickly they're processing these visas. So, and also, I don't know what your status is. I don't see it here in your question. So, I can say that, your legal status, whether it's a legal permanent resident or a U.S. citizen, has a huge difference or impact on wait times. So hopefully that helps. If not, I got the link below that you can reach me directly, and I have more time to analyze it with you. Okay. 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 So here's a friend from the past. I'm doing well, thank you, Patty. It's been a while. Okay. Thank you for joining again. My interview will be coming up pretty soon in Honduras. Anything I should be aware of or expect? Having a lot of anxieties due to being away from my family for a month. So Patty, I don't remember the history with you. Forgive me. Um, you're going you're going down to Honduras for your interview. And I don't know if that means that you had to get a waiver and now it's finally time for you to go down, but you have an approved waiver. If that's the case, then with an approved waiver, going down to Honduras, doing your interview and coming back shouldn't be a big problem. Usually is pretty quick. It's less than a week for the most part. So I'm not aware of any new problems that you would need to be aware of. I, of course, don't know everything about your situation or really anything more than what you just wrote. So if you need more assistance or guidance, use the link that I posted above and reach out to me, book a time to talk to me so I can help you figure this out. Okay. Um, okay. So again, I will say, while I'm at this phase of the operation on Monday, my live with the lead, like and subscribe. If you're not joining from YouTube, go to my YouTube channel. You know, people on here from YouTube will tell you that there's a lot of really good content there. I think over 700 videos that I have on there. So check me out, like and subscribe. You can like me no matter where you are. If it's Facebook or Instagram, like me. I like when people like me. So thank you for joining. And here's a question. Okay. Hello to you too. Can I travel domestic flight as a green card holder with a criminal record? Yes, that shouldn't be a problem. Re-entry in the United States, that is typically a problem, or it can be depending on what your criminal history is. Domestic travel is very rarely an issue. Why is that? Because you're not dealing with customs, right? Domestic travel, you deal with TSA who wants to make sure that you don't have weapons or things in your luggage that you're not supposed to have, but they don't know anything about you or your history. They just know that you have the legal right to travel. They don't know anything about your criminal history, so that is not a problem. Don't hesitate to travel domestically. Internationally, get in touch with me before you decide to do that so I can tell you whether you have a problem or not. Okay. Okay, let me go back over to Instagram. I got a couple more minutes left, a couple more questions if there are any here. Let's see. Let's see if I missed anything up here. I don't see anything that I missed. I also want to see if I missed any friends that are on here. But I would say no at this point in time. So I think we're good with there. I did see. Okay, so here we go. We have a few other. Our friend Yasar from Egypt. Again, thank you for joining 2 weeks in a row. I appreciate it very much. And thank you for telling us where you're from, because I do like to see that. Here's a question. I got married in 2022 and got my 2-year green card with conditions. After the 2 years, I plan to remove the conditional and I got an extension for 48 months. When can I apply for citizenship? Okay. I'm going to presume from your question, actually, just because I know this process, that you are married to a U.S. citizen. I presume that is true. If it is, 3 years is all you have to wait from when you got your green card until you're eligible to apply for naturalization. Okay. That is true even if you have not had your conditions removed from your legal permanent residency. If you're a conditional resident, you can still apply for it. What they've started to do, they used to approve the naturalization before they remove conditions, which seemed absurd to me, but they used to do that regularly. They don't do that anymore. You know what they do? They schedule your appointment for both processes the same day. So you have your interview for removal of condition, and then you go to your naturalization interview. That way, they make darn sure that you meet all the requirements for naturalization before they actually give you the golden goose, which is naturalization. So you can do it, but it might be a little bit more complicated at the time of the interview. So hopefully that helps you understand this process. If you have additional questions, you can always use the link in the chat to book a time to talk with me directly. I thank everyone who joined tonight. It is 8:30. Thank you for working with us with the time change because the end of daylight savings. Thank you kindly. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out my YouTube channel and all 700 plus odd videos that I have on there. More coming out later this week. A couple really good ones I'm going to release this week. Thank you for joining. Join me again next Monday at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time to go over more immigration questions for Immigration Live with Lee. Because remember, you stay informed, you'll stay safe.